and we'd like to understand the reasons before considering any disciplinary actions. Indeed, Yashin had sneaked into Nihang and later entered the file room in the middle of the night, all of which were violations of school rules. The school could certainly discipline her. If she didn't cooperate, the consequences would be hard to predict, not to mention the unresolved case of the 405 murder and the risk of Ruth losing her chance to continue her studies. Yashin gently responded, "Thank you, Mr. Chu and the school leadership, for your concern. I'd like to discuss my thoughts with the two doctors to resolve the issue." While Yashin spoke, Dr. Che Ding quietly observed her. He remembered the female students from Jiangjing Medical University 16 years ago whom he had treated: Shan Yuhong, Xia Xiaoya, Shen Wei Ting, Wana, Tui Li Ying. They all had the same delicate appearance as the girl sitting here, but unfortunately, their endings left everyone forever heartbroken. Thinking of this, he felt a sharp pain in his chest. Doctors had told him he showed signs of coronary artery disease, but he knew the pain came from deep within his heart. He could not let this girl walk down the same path as those other female students. On their way to Jiangjing Medical University, he had shared stories with his colleague Deng Ling Tuan, and Mr. Tuan had concluded, "Perhaps you should have kept those female students in the hospital longer." But Dr. Ding sighed. "I think differently. I believe we should let them leave the hospital as soon as possible." Mr. Tuan didn't respond. He felt it was hard to find common ground with his senior colleague. Both had recently applied for senior titles and were candidates for department head, so inevitable disagreements arose. While Dr. Ding was deep in thought, Dr. Deng had already spoken to Yahin, asked her to sit on the couch, and gestured for Mr. Chu to step out. The Student Affairs Office had borrowed the guest room of the Clinical Medical Institute for this conversation. Before leaving, Mr. Hat Chu brewed tea for all three. After he closed the door behind him, Mr. Deng spoke gently. "The head of your Student Affairs Department was a bit too harsh. They invited us here not to diagnose, but simply to talk with you. If you don't have any ideological issues, we will report to the school that they have examined